Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Logan. Today, we're going to talk about improving your English accent. Now, don't worry, you don't need hours of practice or complicated rules to get started. With just a few simple steps, you'll start sounding more like a native speaker. Improving your accent doesn't have to be hard. First, try listening closely to native speakers. This helps you hear the natural sounds and rhythm of English. Next, start practicing with easy words you use every day, like hello or thank you. Record yourself speaking so you can listen and make small improvements. And don't forget to have fun with it. The more you practice, the more confident you'll feel. So, let's dive into these tips together and get your English sounding even better. Listen carefully to native speakers. When learning to improve your English accent, one of the best things you can do is to listen closely to native speakers. This may seem simple, but it's incredibly powerful. The more you listen, the more you'll start to notice patterns in the way native speakers say words, phrases, and sentences. Whether it's through watching English movies, listening to podcasts, or tuning into YouTube channels, paying close attention to these details helps you pick up on the natural flow of the language. Start by selecting resources that match your current level of understanding. For example, if you're a beginner, choose simple shows or videos with clear speech. As you listen, focus on how words sound, especially the vowels and the way some syllables are emphasized more than others. English has its unique rhythm, and every language has its music, the way words flow together naturally. This rhythm can sometimes be hard to pick up if you're not paying attention, so actively listening is key. When you hear native speakers, you'll notice that they don't pronounce each word separately. Instead, they blend words together. This is called connected speech. For example, in the sentence, "What are you going to do?" Native speakers may say it as, "What you gonna do?" Try to listen for these natural connections between words. When you start recognizing and practicing this, you'll sound more fluent and natural. One effective way to practice is to choose specific speakers or accents you like. For example, some people prefer American English, while others might prefer British English. Watching the same speaker consistently or listening to the same podcast regularly can help you get used to the specific sounds and rhythm of that accent. Another important thing to pay attention to is how vowels are pronounced. Vowels can sound different in English compared to other languages. For instance, the A sound in cat is short and sharp, while in cake, it's long and soft. Focus on these small differences when you listen. Try to mimic them, repeating the sounds out loud to get comfortable with how they feel in your mouth. Mimicking native speakers can be challenging, but it's one of the most effective ways to improve. Listening actively also means trying to notice which words are stressed. English is a stress-timed language, which means that certain words or parts of sentences are emphasized. Native speakers will often stress important words to convey meaning, and this stress helps sentences sound more natural. For example, in the sentence, "I really like that movie," the words "really" and "movie" are likely to be stressed. Practicing stress patterns will help you sound more natural. If you're new to this practice, consider using resources that offer both video and audio, like YouTube videos with subtitles. Subtitles can be a helpful tool, especially if you're not yet used to the sounds of English. When you watch with subtitles, you can see how words are connected and how sentences are formed. After watching once with subtitles, try to watch again without them and see how much you can understand. This will help you rely less on reading and more on listening. Repetition is also key to learning from native speakers. Don't just watch something once and move on. Pick a favorite scene from a movie, a clip from a podcast, or a sentence from a YouTube video and listen to it multiple times. Try to repeat it exactly as you heard it. This is called shadowing, and it's a powerful way to develop an ear for English sounds and rhythm. For extra practice, you could try recording yourself while shadowing native speakers. Play back the recording and compare it to the original. Ask yourself, did I sound similar? Is there anything I could improve? Over time, you'll become better at hearing and adjusting to these small differences. Additionally, using language learning apps can help you practice listening to native speakers. Many apps now offer recordings of native speakers saying words, phrases, and sentences, allowing you to practice along. These tools often let you slow down the playback so you can really hear each word clearly. Listening to native speakers regularly, even in the background while you're doing other things, can also help you absorb the sounds and rhythm naturally. The goal is to make English sounds and speech patterns feel familiar. The more familiar you are with them, the easier it will be to replicate them in your own speech. To recap, here are some steps to follow when practicing with native speakers. 1. Choose resources you enjoy. Movies, podcasts, and videos make learning enjoyable. 2. Listen actively. Focus on sounds, vowels, and stress in words. 3. Pay attention to connected speech. Notice how words blend together. 4. Practice shadowing. Repeat phrases and sentences as closely as possible to what you hear. 5. Record yourself. Listen to your pronunciation and compare it to the native speaker. 6. Repeat. Often. Choose specific clips and repeat them to develop your ear for the sounds. 2. Practice with simple words. First, when you're working to improve your English accent, it's essential to start with simple words. Practicing with easy, everyday words builds a solid foundation, boosts your confidence, and makes you comfortable with the sounds of English. Think about common words that you use frequently, like hello, thank you, goodbye, please, or sorry. These are words you'll likely use in daily conversations, and mastering their pronunciation will help you feel more natural when speaking English. Begin by saying these words out loud, focusing on clear and accurate pronunciation. Start slowly. For instance, take the word hello. First, say it in a drawn-out way. He-allo. Listen to how each part of the word sounds. Focus on the vowel sounds and the way your mouth moves to create each syllable. Notice if there's any part that feels difficult or unfamiliar, and practice that part until it feels natural. As you practice, try to relax your mouth and tongue so that you can make the sounds smoothly. After you're comfortable with the slow version, start to say the word a bit faster. Move from hello to hello at a natural pace. Repeating this process with other simple words helps you develop the habit of clear pronunciation without feeling overwhelmed. The goal here is to get comfortable with each sound and build confidence in speaking. Next, try practicing pairs of words that have similar sounds, like cat and hat or big and pig. This can help you hear the small differences between sounds that might be challenging for new learners. Say each word slowly, focusing on the vowel or consonant that changes. For example, in big and pig, focus on the B and BP sounds, which are both plosive sounds made by stopping and releasing air. Practicing similar words helps your ears recognize the unique sounds in English and helps you pronounce them more confidently. Once you're comfortable with single words, move on to short, simple phrases that you might use every day, like "How are you?" or "See you later." These phrases are a bit more challenging, but they're still simple enough to build your confidence. Say them slowly, paying attention to each word. Practicing common phrases gives you a natural conversational rhythm, which is essential in improving your accent. Another useful technique is to try saying each word with different emotions. For example, say "hello" in a happy tone, then in a calm tone, and then in an excited tone. Changing the tone helps you get comfortable with the word and teaches you how intonation can change the meaning or feeling of a phrase in English. This is especially important because English often relies on intonation or pitch to convey emotions and attitudes. Recording yourself as you practice these simple words and phrases can be incredibly helpful. You don't need any special equipment. Just use your phone or any recording device. Listen to the playback and pay attention to areas where you sound different from a native speaker. Don't worry if it's not perfect. The goal is to notice the areas you want to improve. This process helps you adjust and refine your pronunciation over time. One method for learning pronunciation is breaking words down into syllables, especially with words that might seem tricky at first. For instance, with a word like thank you, break it down into thank and you. Practice each part separately and then put them together. Saying each syllable clearly helps you understand the rhythm of the language and gives you control over each part of the word. Another effective practice is to use a mirror to observe your mouth movements while you say these simple words. English sounds may require your mouth, tongue, and lips to move differently than in your native language. For example, to make the "tiash" sound in thank you, place your tongue between your teeth slightly. Watching yourself in the mirror can help you see if you're forming the sounds correctly. Remember that improvement doesn't happen overnight, and you don't need to rush. Repeating simple words each day builds muscle memory, which helps you pronounce sounds more naturally. Even spending 5 minutes a day saying hello, thank you, or goodbye with clear pronunciation can make a noticeable difference in a few weeks. As you get comfortable with these simple words, you'll find it easier to move on to more challenging vocabulary. This gradual approach prevents you from feeling overwhelmed, making the process enjoyable. The small steps add up, and over time, you'll feel much more confident speaking English. Third, record yourself. Speaking. Recording. Yourself may feel unusual at first, but it's an incredibly effective tool for improving your English accent. When you listen to your own voice, You can notice details in your pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm that you might miss otherwise. Think of it as a way to coach yourself. You get to hear how you actually sound and can compare it to the accent you're aiming for. To start, choose a simple sentence. For example, something like, "Hello, how are you today?" or "It's a nice day, isn't it?" can work well. These are common, easy phrases that allow you to focus on clarity without feeling overwhelmed. Take a moment to practice the sentence out loud before recording it. Listen to how you say each word, the speed of your speech, and any emphasis you naturally put on certain words. When you feel ready, go ahead and record yourself saying the sentence. After you've recorded the sentence, play it back and listen closely. Ask yourself a few questions. Does it sound natural? Does it sound close to how a native speaker might say it? Are there specific sounds or words that seem different from how you hear them in English movies or shows? Don't worry if it doesn't sound perfect the first time. This is just the starting point. Pay attention to the areas where you think you could improve, like the rhythm of your speech, the stress on certain syllables, or the pronunciation of tricky sounds. If you have a particular English accent that you want to emulate, try finding a recording of a native speaker saying a similar sentence. This could be from a YouTube video, a podcast, or even a movie clip. Listen to the native speaker's pronunciation and notice how they use intonation or stress in the sentence. Then, record yourself again, trying to match their way of speaking as closely as possible. This comparison method helps you pick up on subtle differences in pronunciation and can guide you in making adjustments. When you feel you're getting closer, it's helpful to try recording the same sentence multiple times. Each time, focus on a different aspect. For example, in one recording, focus only on the pronunciation of each word. In the next recording, focus on speaking with a smooth, natural rhythm. This way, you're working on improving one element at a time, making it easier to track your progress. Another technique is to record yourself reading a short paragraph, not just a single sentence. Choose something simple, like a short story or an article paragraph, and read it aloud. Listening to a longer recording allows you to assess your flow and see how your pronunciation holds up over multiple sentences. You'll also notice any areas where your accent or intonation changes unexpectedly. This gives you the chance to practice maintaining consistency in your speech. As you continue recording and listening to yourself, you may start noticing specific sounds that feel challenging. These could be sounds that don't exist in your native language, like the th sound in think or this. Once you've identified these sounds, you can spend extra time practicing them separately. For example, practice saying think and thank you repeatedly until they feel more natural. Breaking down challenging sounds like this will improve your overall accent and make your English sound clearer. You can also try recording yourself speaking freely without reading from a script. For instance, describe your day or talk about a topic you're interested in. This can help you build confidence in speaking English naturally. Listening back to these unscripted recordings allows you to see how you sound when you're not focused on reading or repeating, which is closer to how you'd sound in real conversations. It can also be helpful to keep track of your recordings over time. Save a few recordings from each practice session so you can listen to them again later. After a few weeks, go back and compare your earliest recordings with your most recent ones. This gives you a clear sense of your progress and can be very motivating. Hearing how much your accent has improved over time can be a huge confidence booster. Another tip is to focus on recording short sentences that include different emotions. Say the sentence as if you're happy, then try it again as if you're surprised, and then maybe as if you're sad. Changing the emotion helps you experiment with intonation and stress patterns, as English often changes tone based on the speaker's feelings. Practicing with different emotions will help your accent sound more authentic in various situations. Remember, you don't need to strive for perfection right away. Learning an accent is a gradual process, and each recording is a step in the right direction. Focus on consistency. Practice recording yourself a few times a week, even if it's just for a few minutes each time. This regular practice will help you improve naturally without feeling pressured. 4. Break down words into syllables. Breaking words into syllables is a powerful way to improve your English pronunciation, especially when dealing with longer or tricky words. Syllables are the separate sounds or beats within a word. For example, the word beautiful has 3 syllables. Beautiful. Saying each syllable individually can help you focus on pronouncing the word clearly and correctly. To start, pick a word that you find challenging or interesting, such as wonderful, exciting, or comfortable. Write the word down and break it into syllables. For wonderful, you would separate it into wonderful. Try saying each syllable on its own, slowly. Focus on each part without rushing, giving your mouth and tongue time to get comfortable with the sounds. Once you've practiced each syllable, try saying the whole word slowly by linking the syllables together. For example, say wonderful as 3 distinct parts, then gradually say it faster and more naturally. This helps you get used to the sound and flow of the word. You can also try exaggerating each syllable at first. Overemphasizing helps you get a feel for how each sound should be formed. Breaking down words into syllables also helps you learn the stress pattern or which syllable should be emphasized. In English, some syllables are stressed more than others, making them sound stronger or louder. For example, in beautiful, the stress is on the first syllable, beau. Practicing syllables separately can help you notice which ones carry the main emphasis, making your pronunciation sound more natural and closer to a native speaker's accent. It's helpful to practice with words that have varying numbers of syllables. Start with 2-syllable words, like happy, happy, or music, music. Once you're comfortable, move to 3-syllable words, such as computer, computer, or family, family. Try to say each syllable clearly, then put them together slowly until the word flows naturally. After that, challenge yourself with longer words like communication, communication, or responsibility, responsibility. A useful tip is to use a dictionary to help break down the syllables and find the correct stress. Many online dictionaries, like Cambridge or Merriam-Webster, provide phonetic breakdowns and often include audio clips. Listening to these clips while reading the syllable breakdown helps reinforce the correct pronunciation in your mind. You'll start to recognize common syllable patterns, making it easier to guess how to pronounce new words. Another great technique is to clap or tap as you say each syllable. For example, with beautiful, you'd clap or tap 3 times as you say beautiful. This physical action helps reinforce the syllable structure, making it easier to remember. It's also a fun way to practice with kids or friends who are learning English too. You could even try saying the syllables in a rhythm, like a drum beat, to help you remember them better. If you encounter a word with silent letters, breaking it down can be particularly helpful. For example, in Wednesday, the D is silent, so you say it as Wednesday. By breaking down the word, you notice and remember these silent letters, making your pronunciation sound more natural. Another example is comfortable, which is pronounced comfortable. Practicing each part helps you focus on the correct pronunciation, even if it doesn't match the spelling exactly. It's also a good idea to practice syllables in words with similar sounds, as this helps reinforce pronunciation patterns. For example, practice words that end in -tien, like information, education, and station. Notice how chien sounds like shun in all these words. Repeating similar sounding syllables helps you recognize patterns and apply them to new words more confidently. As you continue practicing syllables, you'll notice that some words are easier to pronounce than others. Spend extra time on words that feel difficult. You could even record yourself saying each syllable of a word, then listen back to see if you're pronouncing each part clearly. Listening to your recordings allows you to catch any mistakes and work on refining your pronunciation until it sounds smooth and natural. In addition to individual words, try practicing syllables within phrases or short sentences. For example, I have a beautiful family can be broken down into I wo have, I bo, taiful, fam, I li. Breaking sentences down into syllables and practicing each word one at a time helps you focus on clear pronunciation and fluency. This also builds confidence for real conversations as you become comfortable pronouncing each word correctly within a sentence. Don't forget that breaking down syllables isn't just for new or difficult words. Practicing even common words like hello, hello, and thank you can help you speak more clearly and confidently. You'll notice that even simple words have a natural rhythm, and focusing on syllables reinforces that rhythm. 5. Use mirror practice. Using a mirror to practice speaking is a simple but effective way to improve your English accent. When you speak, your mouth, lips, and tongue work together to create specific sounds, and for English, these sounds often involve movements that might be different from your native language. Practicing in front of a mirror lets you watch these movements closely, helping you make adjustments that bring your pronunciation closer to that of a native speaker. To start, stand in front of a mirror and pick a few words or short sentences that you want to practice. Common words like see, go, look, or hello are great choices because they involve different shapes of the mouth. For example, when saying the word see, notice how your lips are spread wide and your tongue is near the top of your mouth. Compare this to a word like go, where your lips form a more rounded shape. Watching these subtle changes helps you become more aware of how English sounds are produced. Next, try focusing on individual sounds. In English, sounds like the, in thank, or this are unique, and many learners find them challenging. Look in the mirror as you say these words. For the teach sound, you'll notice that your tongue should be between your teeth. Practice this movement in the mirror until it feels natural. Checking these small details helps you improve sounds that might feel unfamiliar at first, but with practice they become easier. Mirror practice is especially helpful for learning vowel sounds, as English has many vowel sounds that can change the meaning of a word. For instance, bit and beat have different vowel sounds, and they're pronounced with different mouth shapes. In bit, the mouth is more relaxed, while in beat, your mouth stretches into a wider shape. Practicing these vowel sounds in front of the mirror helps you notice these small differences and control them better. Another useful technique is to practice full sentences in front of the mirror. Pick a simple sentence, like, I'm going to the store, and say it slowly while watching yourself in the mirror. Focus on how each word changes the position of your mouth and lips. Notice where your tongue goes for each sound and try to match it as closely as possible to how native speakers form these sounds. This not only improves individual sounds, but also helps you develop a more natural rhythm and flow when speaking. When practicing in front of a mirror, don't be afraid to exaggerate the mouth movements at first. Making the shapes a bit bigger than usual helps you feel the differences between sounds more clearly. For example, when practicing the oo sound in food or moon, try exaggerating the rounding of your lips. Doing this makes it easier to control these sounds, and you can gradually make the movements more natural over time. You can also pair mirror practice with listening exercises. Find a recording of a native speaker saying a sentence and watch yourself in the mirror as you try to repeat it. Focus on mimicking both the sounds and the facial movements. For example, if you're practicing the sentence, I love learning English, watch how the speaker's mouth moves for each word, then try to copy it in the mirror. This helps you develop both the sound and the look of native pronunciation. Practice smiling as you speak too. English speakers often keep a relaxed or slightly smiling mouth when talking, especially for sounds like the long E in see or please. Smiling slightly changes how certain sounds come out, making them clearer and closer to a native accent. So, as you practice saying words in the mirror, add a slight smile and see if it helps your pronunciation feel more natural. Mirror practice can also boost your confidence. Seeing yourself speak can make you more aware of your progress, and it gives you a visual reminder of the improvements you're making. Plus, it helps reduce any nervousness you might feel about speaking English in front of others, because you've practiced seeing yourself speak. Another benefit of mirror practice is that it trains your facial muscles for English sounds. Different languages use different muscles, so practicing these movements helps train your mouth for English. This is similar to exercising. The more you practice, the stronger and more flexible these muscles become. Over time, you'll find that making English sounds feels easier and more natural. 6. Repeat phrases. You hear. One of the most effective ways to improve your English accent is to repeat what you hear from native speakers. When you listen to someone speak well, try to copy not only their words, but also their tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. This technique, known as shadowing, is a powerful tool that helps you sound more natural in English. It involves listening carefully to native speakers and then immediately repeating what they say, trying to match their accent as closely as possible. A good way to start shadowing is by watching videos or listening to audio clips of native speakers. Choose something that interests you, like a TV show, movie, podcast, or YouTube video. Listen to a few sentences, then pause and try to repeat them exactly as the speaker did. Pay attention to the way they pronounce each word, the speed of their speech, and where they place stress on certain words. The goal is to make your speech sound as close as possible to what you just heard. You might start by shadowing short, simple sentences. For example, listen to a sentence like, "I'll be right back," and then say it out loud, matching the speaker's tone and rhythm. If the speaker says it quickly or softly, try to do the same. Over time, you can move on to longer sentences and more complex phrases. The more you practice, the more you'll become comfortable with the flow of English speech. Shadowing can be especially helpful for learning common phrases and expressions. English speakers often use certain phrases regularly, like, "How's it going?" or "Nice to meet you." These phrases have a specific rhythm and intonation that can be challenging for learners. By repeating these phrases as you hear them, you get used to the natural way they are spoken. Soon, saying them will feel natural to you too. Another helpful tool for shadowing is music. Listening to English songs and singing along is a fun way to practice pronunciation and rhythm. Start with songs that have clear lyrics and aren't too fast. Listen to a line, pause, and sing it back, matching the singer's pronunciation and tone. This helps you work on sounds in a fun, memorable way. Plus, music has a natural rhythm that makes it easier to remember phrases. You can also shadow while watching English TV shows or movies. Listen to how the actors speak, especially in scenes where they talk in a conversational, everyday way. If you're watching with subtitles, use them as a guide to understand what they're saying. Try to repeat each line right after the actor says it, copying their tone and expression. This can help you understand how English sounds in casual conversations, where people speak quickly and use relaxed pronunciation. When you practice shadowing, focus on three main aspects: intonation, stress, and rhythm. Intonation is the rise and fall in the pitch of the voice, which helps convey emotions and attitudes. For example, questions in English often have a rising intonation, like when someone says, "Are you coming?" Stress refers to the emphasis placed on certain words or syllables. In English, we often stress important words in a sentence, which helps to highlight the main point. Finally, rhythm is the natural pace and flow of the language. Shadowing helps you internalize these patterns, making your speech sound more fluent and natural. If you feel nervous about speaking aloud, remember that you don't need an audience. Shadowing is a private practice technique, so you can do it alone, anywhere. Try shadowing in front of a mirror, where you can also observe how your mouth moves while you speak. This adds an extra layer of practice, helping you to become more aware of your pronunciation and to make any necessary adjustments. For extra practice, try recording yourself while shadowing. First, listen to the original speaker, Then record yourself saying the same phrase or sentence. Play it back and compare the two recordings. Ask yourself if you match the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation of the original speaker. Don't worry if it doesn't sound perfect right away. This process helps you hear the areas where you can improve, and you'll get better with each practice session. Shadowing works best if you practice consistently. Set aside a few minutes each day for this exercise. Even 10 to 15 minutes of shadowing can make a big difference over time. Consistency is key because it helps you build the muscle memory needed to pronounce English words correctly and naturally. As you practice regularly, you'll start noticing improvements in your accent and confidence. Another tip is to choose voices that you like and feel comfortable imitating. This could be a news anchor, a character from your favorite TV show, or a YouTuber who speaks clearly. Find someone whose voice and speaking style you enjoy listening to. When you enjoy the process, shadowing feels more like fun than practice, making it easier to stick with it. 7. Practice intonation and stress. When you're learning English, it's not just about knowing the words, but also about understanding how they sound in a natural flow. Native English speakers use specific patterns of intonation and stress that help words connect smoothly. Practicing these patterns can make your accent sound more fluent and natural, helping you feel more confident in conversation. In English, intonation is the rise and fall in your voice when you speak. This isn't just random. It's a big part of how meaning and emotions are communicated. For example, if you say, "really," with a rising tone at the end, it sounds like you're surprised or asking a question. If you say it with a flat or falling tone, it might sound like you're not interested. Intonation also helps show emotions like excitement, curiosity, or seriousness. So paying attention to this can make your English sound much more authentic. Stress is equally important. English is a stress-timed language, meaning that certain syllables or words in a sentence get more emphasis. This makes speech sound rhythmic and clear. For instance, in the sentence, "I love learning English," native speakers naturally stress the words love and English. These words carry the main meaning, while I and learning are less emphasized. By practicing which words to stress, you can make your sentences flow more smoothly, and you'll be understood more easily by native speakers. To practice intonation and stress, try this step-by-step approach. 1. Listen for patterns. Start by listening carefully to native speakers. Notice which words they emphasize in sentences. You can find these examples in podcasts, movies, or YouTube videos. Try repeating the sentences you hear, focusing on which words or syllables are stressed. 2. Focus on content words. In English, we often stress content words, which include nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Essentially, the words that carry the main meaning. Words like is, the, and of are usually unstressed and blend into the background. For instance, in "the dog is running fast," the words dog and fast are stressed more than the and is. Practice this by reading sentences aloud, giving more emphasis to content words while keeping the function words softer. 3. Repeat phrases with rhythm. Think of English as having a rhythm. Try saying phrases in a way that feels like a beat. emphasizing the stressed words while letting the unstressed words flow quickly. For example, try saying, I'm going to the store, with stress on going and store. Repeat this a few times to get used to the pattern. With practice, you'll start to feel the natural rhythm in longer sentences too. Practice with questions and statements. Questions often have a rising intonation at the end, while statements usually fall. For example, say, Are you coming? With a rising tone at the end, and then say, I am coming, with a flat or falling tone. Practice saying both types so you can get used to changing your intonation based on sentence type. 5. Record yourself. Recording is a great way to check if you're getting the stress and intonation right. Say a sentence, record it, and play it back. Ask yourself if it sounds natural. Compare it to a native speaker's recording if possible. This can help you identify which parts to adjust and improve. 6. Use common phrases for practice. Practicing with common English phrases can help you get used to natural stress and intonation. Start with phrases like, How are you doing? Or What are you up to? These phrases are frequently used and have specific stress patterns. Practice saying them with the right emphasis and intonation. Over time, you'll notice that other phrases start to feel more natural too. 7. Learn the stress for new words. When learning new vocabulary, pay attention to where the stress falls in each word. Many English words have stress on the first syllable, but there are exceptions. For example, in develop, emphasizing the first syllable, versus development, emphasizing the second syllable. Knowing the stress can help you pronounce words correctly from the start and makes a big difference in being understood. 8. Practice with tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are a fun way to work on stress and rhythm. Try saying phrases like, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, or she sells seashells by the seashore. These exercises help improve clarity and rhythm and allow you to practice stressing the right syllables. 9. Shadowing native speakers. When shadowing, pay close attention to how the native speaker uses stress and intonation. Try repeating their sentences immediately after they say them, focusing on copying their emphasis and pitch changes. This will help train your ear and mouth to reproduce the correct sounds and flow of English. 10. Read aloud in different moods. Read a sentence aloud and imagine saying it in different situations. For instance, say, I can't believe it, as if you're excited, then as if you're surprised, and finally, as if you're disappointed. This will help you practice varying your intonation naturally and understanding how tone changes meaning. 8. Try tongue twisters for practice. Tongue twisters are a fun and effective way to improve your pronunciation and help your mouth get used to making English sounds more clearly. These tricky phrases often contain similar sounds that challenge your ability to say them quickly and accurately. By practicing tongue twisters, you can train your mouth muscles to move more easily and help you speak more fluently. For example, try saying, She sells seashells by the seashore. Start slowly, focusing on each word and the sounds it makes. As you become more comfortable, gradually speed up, trying to say it faster without making mistakes. This will help you improve both your clarity and your speed when speaking English. When you practice with tongue twisters, focus on the following. 1. Clear pronunciation. Start slowly to make sure you pronounce every sound clearly. Don't rush. Take your time to form the words correctly. 2. Word stress. Pay attention to the rhythm of the tongue twister. English has a natural rhythm, and some words will be stressed more than others. Practice stressing the right words and keeping the rhythm smooth. 3. Sound recognition. Tongue twisters are great for recognizing sounds that are difficult in English. For example, the esh sound in she, or the s sound in cells. Practice these sounds to improve your overall pronunciation. 4. Mouth movement. Watch how your mouth moves as you say each word. English requires a variety of mouth shapes, so practicing tongue twisters will help your mouth adapt to these movements and make speaking easier. 9. Use English in your daily life. One of the most effective ways to improve your English accent is to use the language in your daily life. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to speak naturally. Even if you only speak English for a few minutes every day, it will make a huge difference in improving your accent and overall fluency. Small, consistent practice helps build new habits and keeps your brain active with English. Talk to friends in English. Try speaking with your friends in English, even if it's just for a few sentences. If you're not yet confident enough to have full conversations, start with simple phrases like, "How are you?" or "What's your plan for today?" As you practice, you'll start feeling more comfortable with your accent. Practice in front of the mirror. Stand in front of a mirror and practice saying words or phrases. This allows you to watch your mouth movements and compare them with those of native speakers. When you see yourself speaking, you can also focus on the shape your mouth makes and how it changes for different sounds. Order food or drinks in English. If you're at a restaurant or a cafe, try ordering your food or drinks in English. Even if the staff doesn't speak English, this practice will help you get used to saying words and sentences out loud in a real-life situation. It also helps you become more confident in speaking English in public. Label items in your home. To make English a part of your environment, label items in your home with their English names. For example, put labels on your door, fridge, or table, so you're constantly reminded of the English words. This will help with vocabulary retention and give you the chance to practice pronunciation every day. Use English in small situations. Everyday activities can be a great opportunity to practice. For example, when you're walking down the street, try saying simple phrases to yourself like, "This is a beautiful day," or "I need to buy groceries." You can also listen to English podcasts or songs during your commute to keep practicing while you're on the go. The key to this is consistency. The more you speak English, even in small ways, the more natural it will feel. Over time, you will start to notice improvements in your accent and confidence. Small daily practice is the most effective way to make English a natural part of your life and improve your accent gradually. 10. Be patient and enjoy the journey. Improving your English accent is not something that happens overnight, and that's completely okay. Learning a new accent takes time and practice, so be patient with yourself as you make progress. It's important to understand that you don't need to sound perfect from the start. In fact, mistakes are part of the learning process, and each mistake is an opportunity to improve. Celebrate small wins. Every time you notice an improvement, no matter how small, celebrate it. Whether it's getting a word right, pronouncing a sentence clearly, or using a new English phrase, these are all steps forward. Celebrate these moments to keep your motivation high. Don't compare yourself to others. It's easy to feel discouraged when you compare yourself to others. especially when you hear people with perfect accents. Remember, everyone learns at their own pace, and you're doing great. Your goal is progress, not perfection. Focus on your journey and take pride in your improvements. Be consistent. Learning an accent is a marathon, not a sprint. Consistency is key. Even if you can only practice for a short time each day, make sure you do it regularly. The more consistent you are, the better you'll get. Enjoy the process. Learning a new accent should be fun. Find ways to enjoy the practice. Listen to your favorite English songs, watch movies, or even try learning English tongue twisters for a laugh. When you enjoy the process, it doesn't feel like a chore, and you'll be more motivated to keep going. Stay positive. A positive attitude goes a long way in language learning. Instead of thinking about the challenges, focus on the progress you're making. If you feel frustrated, take a break, but always return with a fresh mindset. Keep telling yourself that you are improving and that every step counts. Thank you for listening. Improving your English accent doesn't have to be difficult. By following these simple steps and maintaining a positive attitude, you can start to speak more clearly and confidently. Keep practicing, stay patient, and enjoy the journey. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you in the next lesson.